Ciao!
Hello!
We are Ilaria
and Irina,
and we are back with a new magical Amigurumi adventure.
Can you believe it's been a whole year since our last crochet-along?
And we prepare something extra special for everyone to enjoy.
Brace yourself for crochet textures, mixing colors, things that move, twist, and jump.
Woo! Join us every week for a new part of our crochet puzzle. We will build a brand new, a little bit tricky amigurumi step by step.
Join our Magic Feather Cow!
But before we begin, let's see what materials we have to work with and decorate our bags.
We wanted a project bag that was both eco-friendly and fun.
Our inspiration for the bag came from all the library books.
To make it yours, embroider your name above the dotted line.
Use any stitch you like, and most of all, get creative.
Yes, please. We like to use a simple running stitch to trace out our names in a bright color. And add in our favorites, French knots.
Let's take a look inside our bags. There are lots of colors to play with.
We have a ball of dark purple, 2 balls of lilac, a curly fairy yarn, and a soft fluffy lilac too.
And there are many other shades. There is yellow, orange, teal, dark green, grey and brown.
You will see how we mix them together and try your own combinations too.
And there is also a little bag of stuffing and some very fun surprises.
These spooky stitch markers will be very useful soon.
So let's warm up with a gauge swatch.
So let's start with our little tension swatches. For this we will be using the lilac cotton and the teal cotton, and we'll be making a little circle and a little square. And this will check that your tension is matching the one that we used in the sample. So for this yarn, we suggest using a 2.5 or a 3mm hook, depending on your tension and crochet style. Ilaria tends to use 2.5mm and Irina prefers 3mm, and we come out with the same results. Try both and see which one feels better for you. It's worth adding that tension is not usually that important when you're making amigurumi, but for this project, because we're working with a kit and the yarn amounts are limited, it's best to match ours if you can, or there's the risk of playing a game of yarn chicken towards the end. We've worked out the numbers and it should be fine with a 2.5 or a 3mm, so everything should be okay. Let's start and make a magic ring. Of course, if you have your own style of magic ring that you prefer making, feel free to use this, but this is one of the types of magic rings we can make. So with the yarn tail in your palm towards you, you don't need to leave a very big tail for this. Wrap it around your index finger and it makes a little X shape. And hold that X with your thumb so it doesn't slip off. So put your hook under the first strand and over the tail. Wrap the yarn around the hook, so like a yarn over, and pull it under that strand. You'll have one loop on your hook. Yarn over again and pull a loop through that loop. This does not count as a stitch, this is just a setup to get you to the right height to work the stitches. And this is the magic ring. Now we're going to work into the string and make 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to do some magic. Make sure you count them first. So pull on the tail and the ring will tighten. And that's the magic ring. See, it's made a very neat little opening. So we're not going to join it with a slip stitch. For this, we're just going to carry on working in the spiral. So find your first stitch and continue working in the round. And now you're going to increase in every stitch, so 7 increases. Most of the amigurumi we work in a spiral without joining chains. We feel it gives a better, smoother result. But different pattern instructions will suggest different things, so it's not always the rule. So work your 7 increases, counting in your head or out loud, however you like to do it. And your ring will grow a little bit. If you want to use stitch markers to mark the first stitch of the round, you can do that as well. The ones that come with the kit are very cute, and we'd like to show them off if we can. So here you have 14 stitches. Now you're going to increase in every other stitch, and that's going to grow the round. So follow the pattern and we'll catch up with you when the circle is done. Here we go. This is the final size of the swatch. After round 4, you should have 28 stitches and the circle should lie quite flat. When you increase by 7, so you usually get a much flatter shape. So let's fasten off, cut the yarn, pull on it. Of course, everybody is familiar with all of these steps. So we are aiming for a size of about 4 centimeters. If it's a little bit under, that's fine. If it's a little bit over, maybe try a smaller hook, just so that we make sure that there is enough yarn for everything. There should be, so don't worry, but just in case. So we measure it across the widest point, and that gives us a diameter of 4 centimeters. So this one was made with the 2.5 millimeter. Of course, everybody's crochet tension is a little bit different, so don't be surprised if you need a 3.25 millimeter or a 2.25 millimeter to achieve the same size, because Ilaria and Irina are always using slightly different hooks, and the final amigurumi come out the same, just because of the styles of crochet that we do. So it's a bit of a space to play around and see what works best. So let's make the square gauge next, using the little bit of teal. You can keep this swatch attached to the yarn because you may need it in a later part. So let's chain 11 stitches, and you can start it with a slip knot or just a twist, however you would normally do it, and then you chain 11. And of course, we always start in second chain from hook, unless the pattern says something else, to get a nice turning corner. And you work 10 single crochets, so 1 in each chain. So you can put your hook under the front loop of the chain and over the middle bump, or you can turn it over and work in the back bumps. It really is a matter of personal preference, unless the pattern says something else. Because sometimes you want to use a specific chain for a specific effect on the piece. So always good to keep an eye on those. At the end of row 1, you turn your work, chain 1, and work 10 single crochets again all the way across. We are just making a little square. After 10 rows, you should have a square. And we'll see if your gauge matches ours. See you at the end of row 10. So here we have row 10, and we're just finishing. And now you should have a square. For this one, we'll keep it attached for now. We might use it later, or we might not. We'll see how it goes. It's best to not cut this one. It makes a very neat little square. So let's measure our little square. And again, it should be 4 centimeters across and 4 centimeters from the bottom to top. If it's a tiny bit over, that's fine. But it should be roughly a square shape. If it's a lot larger than 4, it's really better to go down a hook size, unless you're using a different yarn to what's coming in the kit, in which case just go with the flow. Here are the 2 swatches side by side. Also, sometimes when you're working in rounds or rows, you'll notice that your gauge is a little bit different, so you might need a different hook size for the elements that are worked in rows. It's a little bit of adjustment game. Swatch is done. Let's start. Happy with your chosen hook? Let's get crafting!